Hello, this is Neville Buchanan with the Summit Church of Christ. Welcome you to a lesson on God's plan, winning on and off the field. The title of the lesson today is Go for the Win. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 24 through 27, Paul coaches concerning winning. While the world invites us to sit down and enjoy the sumptuous banquet table laden with every sin the natural heart could possibly desire, Paul reminds us that we are spiritual athletes. His strategy to win on and off the field requires all athletes to be resolute, focused, and self-disciplined. There was a time when our country wasn't doing too well. Just after the Great Depression, stock market struggled to win back investors' confidence. Then in 1952, an article from Our Daily Bread records that Harry Markowitz suggested that investors spread their stock holdings over several companies and industries. He developed a theory for portfolio selection that helped investors in uncertain times. In 1990, Markowitz and two others won the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences for their theory. Eventually, the jittery investors followed this portfolio spread and they got back their confidence. From time to time, we as Christians also need to win back our confidence after a great fall. And so look at this lesson today as you look at your life and see the different areas in your life that you need to get back in the race with, and not just get back in the race, but actually win. Paul's strategy then to win requires spiritual athletes to be resolute runners. Friend, Jesus has already started the race when he shouted, "Go." As we press on to the prize of the upward call of Christ, all of heaven is cheering us. In Philippians chapter 3 verse 14, you can almost hear all of heaven cheering you on. The first strategy is self-discipline as we focus on our imperishable prize, that is heaven. In verse 24 through 25, Paul says, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable." What do you do when you are offered that sinful dessert that you absolutely don't need? Inside each person lives a spiritual winner and an eternal loser. Whom do you see approaching the finishing line? What does that spiritual winner look like? If you had an exercise where you could turn to somebody right now, like turn to your neighbor, how would you complete the following? A winner says, "Let's find out." A loser says, "Well, A matches with 3. A loser says nobody wins, or nobody knows. And then B, when a winner makes a mistake, he says, "I was wrong." When a loser makes a mistake, he says, "It wasn't my fault," number 1. And then C, a winner isn't nearly as afraid of losing as a loser is of secretly afraid of winning. Friend, Jesus has already started the race, and so we need to get in the race here. The second thing I'd like to suggest is not just be resolute runners, but also be focused fighters. This is our second strategy. Verse 26, "So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air." The second technique, as we focus on landing punishing blows on our challenger, it is amazing how if we don't focus on the technique, we will lose so much. To maintain good technique, the athlete must keep hearing his coach's voice. For many years, I could remember as I was swimming as an athlete in the swimming pool, I could hear my coach's voice, not just telling me to go faster or slower or turn correctly, but but even every movement, every action, whether I was using my arms, my legs, I could hear exactly what the coach was telling me to do. You see, the athlete that finishes first is the one that stays focused on that voice, whether the training is in whether he's in training or competition. The coach that I'm talking about obviously is Jesus Christ. Again, turn to your neighbor or turn to someone close to you and see if you can complete the following. A winner works harder than a loser and has more time. A loser is, number 2, always too busy to do what is necessary. B, a winner goes through a problem, a loser goes around it and never gets past it. Number 1. And then C is number 3, a winner makes commitments, a loser makes promises. Paul's strategy to win requires all spiritual athletes to be not just resolute runners, not just focused fighters, but thirdly, disciplined disciples. In verse 27, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others I myself be disqualified. So our final strategy is to be a competitor as we focus on going for the gospel instead of cheering on others. While some may think it easier to win vicariously through others, it is not nearly as much. It is also fatal to not be on the field and not to be participating. Again, the last one we can look at here, and then I might have time for a bonus round. A, look at the answer with number 2. A winner says, I'm good, but not as good as I ought to be. A loser says, I'm not as bad as a lot of other people. And then B, a winner listens. 3, a loser just waits until it's his turn to talk. And then finally C matches with number 1. A winner respects those who are superior to him and tries to learn from them. A loser resents those who are superior to him and tries to find chinks in their armor. Paul's strategy to win requires all spiritual athletes to then be resolute runners, focused fighters, disciplined disciples. Here is the bonus round that I said we might get to. A winner explains. A, number 4. A loser explains away. B, a winner feels responsible for more than his job. 3, a loser says, I only work here. A winner, C, matches with 2. A winner says there ought to be a better way to do it. A loser says that's the way it's always been done here. And finally, D, a winner paces himself. And that matches with number 1. A winner paces himself. A loser has only 2 speeds, hysterical and lethargic. Friend, I hope you will consider being a winner for Jesus and what it's going to take in this race, and that you won't just run to just try to be part of the mass, but actually run this race, this Christian race, to win. God bless as you strive to walk in His way.